Well, Singapore's urging the US and China to work together and lead tackling shared global challenges. Speaking at a lecture organised by the Foreign Affairs Ministry, Deputy Prime Minister Heng Keat calls on the two countries to tap on their resources to advance international development. He says this will help the world better address the climate crisis and realise the UN Sustainability Development Goals by 2030. Mr. Heng notes strategic rivalry between the US and China has added to the fragility of peace and prosperity amid an already uncertain global economic recovery. But cooperation is not impossible. He says recent events like their joint COP26 declaration and the Xi-Biden dialogue show that both countries want to manage competition responsibly.
The US and China will compete where they must, but it is critical that there are safeguards in place to ensure that competition does not veer off course into conflict. Alongside competition, it is crucial that they also cooperate where necessary. There are many areas of complementarity and economic development between the two largest economies, which are at different stages of development.
While it's imperative that the US and China come to an equilibrium, Mr. Heng says that will take time. Meanwhile, he cautions them against letting mistrust overshadow opportunities for mutual progress.
The cost of decoupling will be very high. Doing so will lead to mutually assured economic value destruction. At best, neither can fulfill their maximum economic potential. There could be a regression in living standards, not only for the US and China, but also for the rest of the world. At worst, economic decoupling is a slippery slope towards strategic miscalculations and a disastrous conflict.
At the same lecture, DPM Heng also called on like-minded countries to come together to catalyse change and create new building blocks. He says no country will be able to recover from the pandemic alone. Michelle Teo reports.
With a swish of a pen, Singapore, Chile and New Zealand entered a new pact on digital trade. The first of its kind, the Digital Economy Partnership Agreement covers paperless trade, cross-border data flows and online consumer protection. And it's drawn the interest of the world's biggest market, China. This, Mr. Heng says, is an example of how small states can exercise collective power in a way that has a larger multiplier effect.
The purpose is not to form an exclusive bloc to compete with other groups or powers, but to be pathfinders for global change. While these initiatives often start small, we must be prepared to partner all like-minded countries, big and small, to create a better future.
Likewise, he says that Singapore and its ASEAN neighbours can work together to realise the potential of the region. That means doing more to strengthen ties with partners like the EU and India, while remaining open to Latin America and Africa.
To do so, it is important for ASEAN to maintain our credibility. The position that ASEAN has taken on Myanmar shows that we can hold our own against external pressures. We have taken a principled position to forge consensus and have urged other countries to do likewise.
On its part, Mr. Heng says Singapore is committed to keep ASEAN open and inclusive. To remain relevant to the world, he adds that Singapore must continue to transform its companies and upskill its workers.
We must appreciate the diversity of global views and the differences in history, heritage, and culture. As a small nation, we knew since independence that we had to stay open to the world, welcome talents from abroad, and integrate those who choose to assimilate and become one of us.
And the more united Singapore is, the better it can chart out its future while contributing to global efforts like the fight against COVID-19.